We need to have a real conversation about this franchise. Some say people just want to complain and expect too much, while others say the show has a ton of room for improvement. So where does the show stand in 2025? I started playing the show back in 2005 with MLB 06, back when the game was made by 989 Sports. At the time, it was the smoothest baseball gameplay I'd ever seen. The animations felt realistic, presentation was top tier, and the graphics blew every other baseball game out of the water. Even MVP Baseball, which some still call the greatest baseball game ever, didn't look this good in my opinion. Then came MLB 06, the show, and with it, the debut of Road to the Show. That mode changed everything for me. It was the first time I felt truly immersed in a creative player experience, and it was revolutionary for sports games at that time. Franchise mode was solid too. I remember having fun managing stadium vendors and setting ticket prices, little details that were surprisingly engaging, but those features were removed in 2017, and since then, not much has been added to give franchise mode more depth. Which brings me to the big question: how far have we actually come? We need to talk about this community. I've seen a lot of everyone just likes to complain comments floating around social media, and as a consumer, why would you discourage improvement? There's so many ways the show can improve. I think many of us can agree that we need better graphics and player models. These player models simply don't look good, and for whatever reason, they removed real player photos, which kind of highlights their outdated player models. The jerseys also look a little stiff, and maybe we could add some updated jersey physics. I just think the game could look so much better. Pro Spirits does look better than MLB The Show in many ways. The player models look good, somehow a bit more lifelike. While it still lacks the smooth animations that are present in the show, it's hard to ignore the overall visual improvements. Look at this side-by-side comparing MLB 15 to MLB 25. Is this a true 10-year improvement?
I need you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
The game just doesn't look as good as it should right now. Look at this ump and his hands. What is this? Even in the 25 gameplay trailer, we have Gunner's hands tweaking out during his swing. I'm no game developer, but how did they not see this during the trailer's development? All that being said, I think it's safe to say this game is due for a graphical overhaul. Next topic we really need to talk about is the lack of improvement and innovation. Replay review challenges showed up back in MLB 15, and yeah, I was actually kind of hyped. It felt like the start of something, like maybe we'd eventually be able to challenge other types of plays like they do in the majors. But here we are, 10 years later, and it's still just first base, and only when the game decides to prompt you. It's one of those features that sounded promising, but never really went anywhere. That's kind of the pattern with SDS. Features get added, and then just stay in neutral. MLB The Show 21 gave me hope. The series was starting to feel a little stale, and then, out of nowhere, they introduced Stadium Creator. Credit where it's due, this was a big win. It gave us a level of customization that we had never seen in this series before. It was a great introduction to a new feature and it showed promise. 4 years later, Stadium Creator still has the same frustrating limitations it started with. Foul territory, still not customizable. Foul poles, still don't touch the ground. Bullpens, still stuck in play. And why do we still have no distance markers or advertisements? Road to the Show finally got a much needed update in 2025. It's cool that we can start our player in high school and go through a couple college games. I really like the effort they put in here. Adding metal bats was cool and made me a bit more immersed in the college experience. I just want San Diego Studio to add to it next year. I don't want to have to wait 10 more years for another Road to the Show update. I just would like to see Road to the Show get some annual love. I feel like it would give Road to the Show fans a reason to buy each new release. I also just found out that your performance in high school and college do not actually affect your draft stock. Maybe we could start by adding this, yeah? Diamond Dynasty is good. If you like ultimate team modes in sports games, you are getting the best version of that in the show. I'm happy that I can grind out cards without spending real money. Back in 2020, I sunk over 1,000 hours into Diamond Dynasty, and I enjoyed every hour. This mode does have microtransactions, which makes Diamond Dynasty the cash cow. So, Naturally, this game is going to get the most attention. During the course of the year, the only features getting updated is Diamond Dynasty with new cards and legends. This is great and all, but can the other features get updates too? Also, the idea that Diamond Dynasty gets a lot of attention isn't entirely accurate. The content they add in over the year is mostly new cards and moments. They did add Diamond Quest, which is a new single player roguelike, and many people do seem to like this addition. Regardless, I don't think Diamond Dynasty really improves on itself that much year to year. It's nearly identical to MLB 20. The footage you're seeing now is an online Diamond Dynasty matchup. My opponent quit and I was credited with the loss. Is this a server issue or are people actively cheating? This happened in 2 of my first 3 games, by the way. San Diego Studio is also not immune to manipulative tactics, hiding some of the best cards behind massive paywalls and sneakily making the game more pay to win. It seems San Diego Studio is manipulating attributes to make some cards way better than others, even if they have the same overall. Franchise mode has seen little to no improvement since its inception. Progression for top tier prospects is generally too slow, player regression logic is non-existent, and online franchise still hasn't made its return. The trade logic is still illogical. For example, I was able to dump Chris Bryant, a 63 overall with a 4-year, $104 million contract, and take on no additional salary. Is this the new trade logic SDS was talking about? Franchise mode has become completely stagnant. Like I stated earlier, features have been removed with nothing to show for it. They updated free agent signings a little bit this year to mirror the scouting changes they made a few years back. In fact, they marketed this free agency feature as something new when it was actually introduced a couple years back in March to October and copied over to franchise mode. I think the show needs to take a page out of NBA 2K's book by including 3-team trades, pre-draft workouts, and so on. Maybe we could finally add an international signing period and also allow for cash trades. In NBA 2K's franchise mode, you can run a franchise starting in a different era with all the legends from those eras. Maybe SDS can try something similar. And how are you going to do Oakland fans dirty by not including the Coliseum as a classic stadium? I think it's time to put some development resources into franchise mode. There is no reason for franchise mode fans to pay for an annual release when it's simply a roster update. Gameplay has always been solid in the show, so I don't have too much of an issue here, but I wanted to chime in on the perfect debate. I have countless clips of getting perfect groundouts and lineouts. I understand people want this game to be a simulation, but perfect contact should reward a base hit 95% of the time. If you play 2K, you should understand how satisfying getting green releases are. I want perfect contact to reward us in a similar way. It makes the game more fun. MLB The Show is a good game, but if you release this every single year, you need to show some year-to-year improvement. It's confusing that we have people saying things like, there is not much more that can change, or it's crazy people expect a whole new experience. We should see small additions every year. While it's unreasonable to expect major changes annually, implementing substantial updates every 5 years is a fair expectation. The notion that there's nothing new to add is unfounded. Other sports franchises have demonstrated that significant improvements are possible with dedicated effort. By investing in a modern engine and focusing on enhancing visual fidelity, SDS can revitalize the series and meet the evolving expectations of the gaming community. We've got to hold San Diego Studio to a higher standard. They used to be the gold standard for sports games, but that's just not the case anymore. Yeah, the show might be the least pay-to-win sports game out there, but that doesn't make up for the lack of real effort we've seen over the past decade.